Hey guys, it's Cecilia, aka ForRealCeil, the 190 Days Can Do, and MLS. I'm just coming to you this beautiful Friday morning. It is October the 4th. Wow, time is flying. So, I wanted to talk about stress today, because a lot of us work, a lot of us have bills, a lot of us have family situations and health issues and crises and pressure to produce in one way or another. Like at the job, you're required to do reporting, or you may have a quota that you need to fulfill, or you might be heavily burdened with a lot of clients and calls and things of that nature. There are so many different things that could cause stress, illnesses, the impact of someone that you love being ill, or just a number of different things in your life that can cause stress. So I wanted to talk a little bit about stress because stress kills, and there are ways to eliminate it. And one of the ways to reduce stress is something that I learned at a conference this year about not being a complainer. Don't complain about things, and that will reduce the amount of stress that a person has in their life. Because if you're not complaining, you're living in a complaint free world in your mind, and then you are less stressed by the typical things that can aggravate or charge off a stressful time for another person. So what I want to do is emphasize that if you're going through something, prayer is always an option. If you are experiencing a difficult or challenging time, it's always good to speak about it and not hold it in. There's lots of people, your peers, who are working in the same fields as you as a resource, or other entrepreneurs who are challenged with building their businesses and stabilizing their businesses, can be a good release of someone to reach out to in the times where you're confused or you're concerned about your welfare or that of your business, or anything like financial questions, information about attorneys, how did they pool their resources, what kind of software systems did they use, how do they analyze data, how do they determine whether it's an impactful or successful business, what are their numbers looking like. When you're talking about people in general on a daily basis, you're talking about transportation issues, health issues, food or groceries, the lack of funds and resources to pay for essentials of life. And I'm talking about the general things like food and medicine. Do you know? All right, I had frozen shoulder at one point, right? And then I had tendonitis in my shoulder, and I went through a period of therapy, and I had to pay $40 every time I went to the doctor. That was an out-of-pocket expense. And also, they put me on some naproxen, anti-inflammatories and stuff, right? So I had to pay for that, and it's not expensive. But I went the other day to get a refill, and in my mind, I was like, it's $10, right? Well, I get out there and it was like $30. Now, if I didn't have $30, that would have been an issue for me, and I would have had to say, okay, I can't get this medication that I needed. So I know that people have these challenges in life. I understand that some people cannot even afford their medication when they need it, and it may be life-saving. It may not be just pain relief or anti-inflammatory, because I've lived with pain all my life. I suffer from arthritis. I got sciatica. I know that I'm going to deal with a certain level of pain, and I have a high tolerance for pain, so I'm dealing with it. But sometimes you just get tired of being stiff or in pain, so you will take relief. But there are people who is not only pain, it is life-threatening. Some medications that they need to live. So I get it, and that can be very stressful, and it could leave stress for your family members, because then, of course, if it's in their means, they'll reach out and help you to, get these medications or whatever it is, care, therapy, or whatever, and it could be very costly. So those are things that could cause stress. But you gotta remember this. Talking to people about your situation can help. I know there's some people who just don't like to share, when they're going through something. I get it, because people could talk. People always going to talk about you. Whether you're telling your business or whether you're not telling your business, people make shit up, all right? And they go and they talk behind your back. I hear it all the time. And I try not to talk about anybody negatively. It's always something positive, or always something uplifting, or something that's obvious that I can say directly to that person. I will never say anything behind somebody's back that I won't say in their face, so that's just me. But there are plenty of people who just talk stuff. Like, they really will talk crap about people, and some people just don't care about other people. Other people do genuinely care, and if you open your mouth, you may realize that some people around you are going through the same exact things that you're going through, if not worse. Then you can talk to people and get support, from different avenues, and you can find that it relieves stress. So when you open up, or when you open your mouth, or if you're looking for something, just like we say, conversation leads to compensation. That doesn't just mean financial compensation. A conversation may lead to compensation of alleviation of your worries, or alleviation of your stresses about a certain thing that you're going through. Or they may have a resource that you never knew about, and then you learn something new. So you have to learn to talk, and don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. When you're sitting next to somebody and a thought passes, I'll give you an example. I was in the pharmacy, like I said the other day, I went to get medicine, right? So I saw a young lady. Now, I had a gastric sleeve surgery quite some time ago, 2015, right? So I had this procedure, and I lost over 109 pounds, right? During my reconfiguration and stuff, and starting to go to the gym and getting toned, I was looking for all kinds of body shapers and stuff like that, because I didn't want to have issues where I wasn't toning right and then having my shape, right? So I was looking for all kinds of body shapers. So this is what I found out. And at one point I had considered getting a tummy tuck, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to work out, because the surgery thing for me was not cosmetic. It was because I was dying. Shit, I was damn near 300 pounds, and I could not get the weight off. And I've always been an active person. It just was like I had a behavioral problem, obviously, and was not following my own body's indicators. Like, I love food, and I still love food, but I learned how to eat better. I learned how to moderate. Well, I had no choice but to moderate my size limits and my portions, and just learned how to eat wisely and eat in a better time, not eating around the clock. So that in itself helped a lot. But of course, having that procedure done really was a catalyst to, look, if you don't eat right now, you can kill your damn self. So that helped me. All right. So I did the procedure. I looked up some garments and stuff, and I saw all kind of shape things. And at one point, like I said, I was considering getting a tummy tuck and maybe even a boob job, because I have very small breasts, and I always have. And I was not satisfied, especially after the weight loss, how teeny my boobs were, right? So I was thinking about it. But then I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm going to be happy with what I got. I kept thinking about NDRE's song, and I said, I'm fine with just me. I may not be a supermodel, but what God gave me is fine. I'm going to deal with it. So now I saw this girl, and I realized that she had on some body stuff, like, the garments, because her jocksuit was askew and stuff, and I seen the tight garments, and I knew what it was. Now, I don't know her, never seen her before in my life, and the shit was burning in the back of my head. So I was like, shit, I want to know what happened to her, like, what's she going through. And I was like, do you mind if I ask you a personal question? And she was like, no. I was like, so how's your recovery going? She was like, oh, it's good. I'm just uncomfortable and sore. Now, I didn't know with a certainty that she had a procedure, but I could tell that this was not just no regular garment or shaper. It was after surgery shaper because I had researched. So she was like, no, I'm doing good. It's just painful sometimes. Like I'm sore. I said, okay. I said, well, what did you have done? And then she said she had a tummy tuck and her boobs down. And I was like, oh, no, she said liposuction and her breast. I said, okay. I was like, how was that? How did that work out for you? Like, was it lengthy procedure? What? She was like 4 hours. And then I said, well, how do you feel? She was like, okay, just a little sore. And I was like, well, I hope you have a speedy recovery. Now I was asking her, I was like, where did you get it done? Did you get it here in the U.S.? She said, no, the DR. Of course, everybody goes to the DR for the procedures because it's less expensive. But oh my God, like, I'm just like, really, you are such a brave person. And I said, well, I wish you a speedy recovery, right? So it just was like, I found out information. I found out, the recovery time. It was just a couple of weeks. She's wearing her body garment. She just feels sore, but she's able to move around and walk around. She's just like, it so far so good, no problems, no issues, so. And that she got it done in the DR, and I could go on. But the thing is I would have never known that had I not mentioned it or asked her a question. I came out my face and I asked a stranger about her condition because of what I saw her wearing. All right. So this is just an example. When you see people wearing a frown, or when you see people with a certain item like a pendant or a hat or a shirt that says something, if you're curious, ask the question. If you see somebody with something unique or different, you can ask them the question. The reason that they have it is to stand out and obviously start a conversation. But if you never say anything, you may be missing out on a stress reliever. You may be missing out on a tension breaker. You may be missing out on a conversation that can give you some insight about a subject that you're curious about or that you wanted to know about all along. So don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Ask questions. Relieve stress by talking to other people. Relieve stress of anxieties. I was listening to a comedian the other day, and sometimes I listen to this, comedy, because I like comedy. Another stress reliever is laughter. All right. So I was listening to this comedian, and he was talking about being on a bus, right? And he was like, yeah, so when you're on the bus with a whole bunch of people, he's like, there's only two places that you can look. He's like, you look out the window, you put your headphones on, and you don't say nothing, and you look directly out the window. And if somebody's face is in your way in that window, then you look at the floor. You don't look anywhere else. You look at the floor, or you look out the window. And I'm like, really? Wow. Don't talk to nobody, don't say nothing. I was like, wow, that is crazy. But we're in a world that some people just don't talk to other people. People are very mean sometimes, and sometimes people are conversational. So you have to kind of gauge your atmosphere. I get it, but it was so funny to me, and I just laughed. I was like, God, this guy. It was comical, but it also held a grain of truth. So we got to be careful. Yes, you can step outside your comfort zone, but you also need to fill yourself out and know when you could be able to approach somebody and talk. But if all else fails, go with your gut feeling. Think about your stress level. Think about, hey, if I don't ask this question, it's just going to drive me crazy. So then what? You know what? Then it's good for you. Then ask. Relieve that stress. You might talk to somebody who looks like the meanest, nastiest person in the world. They wind up being the most friendly, conversational person. And then you might have that person that won't shut up after you ask them a question. But, hey, you started the conversation, so deal with it. You know that if you know anything about conversations, and if you're a business person, you also know how to control a conversation. So you could change the tempo and either make them talk more be more open, or you can make them shut down and not talk anymore because you have reached a subject or a topic that they don't want to talk about, and they feel now uncomfortable talking. That can, you can control a conversation in that manner. So at any rate, I just wanted to talk about stress and how to alleviate it by sharing, how to alleviate it by not holding things in and keeping things to yourself, because again, you never know who's going through the same thing that you're going through. I have some stuff going on, and I spoke to somebody about it because it was really bothering me, and I kind of found out that another person's going through pretty much the same thing as me, and it is not a relief to know that somebody else is struggling with the same things that I have going on, but it is a release that I can talk about it and get somebody who understands it, because there's a lot of people who judge people. They be like, why are you dealing with that? Like, why are you dealing with this? Like, I'm a human individual. I'm a human being. I'm a compassionate person. I care about people. I have a relationship, and I have a life, and I have animals like my cat. My cat attacks me. That chick is a badass cat. And it's not that she don't like me. She loves me, and I know that she does. But she will bite and scratch someone, and I like that about her, because in my opinion, that's a good thing, because if the wrong person come up in my place, they're gonna get got, so I like that. But she is unpredictable. She can be, annoying in that aspect, because not only is it very dangerous for humans to be attacked by animals, and not only just, she's not an outside cat, but she does go to the bathroom. She scratches in her litter. Cats have all kind of bacterias and stuff in their saliva and things like that, and then they have a different kind of makeup other than humans. So anytime that your body is penetrated by a foreign object, whether it's metal, whether it's nails, whether it's teeth, whether it's whatever, there is always a possibility of getting an infection or having a festering issue. So that is a concern. It's a huge concern. People be like, oh, decoy your cat, oh, do this and do that. I cannot do it. I cannot do that. I knew she was a cat when I got her. Cat's paws come with claws. She's a cat. I know she's not outside, but that doesn't mean that she'll never be an outside cat. And it also, I just can't do it. And yes, does she scratch my furniture sometimes? Yes, I be wanting to kick her ass. I be wanting to kick her across the room, but I could never do that, because she's an animal. She knows better, but she is still an animal. She's not a human. Her mind don't work the same way as human being minds work. And she don't have no compassion. She's an animal, so I get it. And I refuse to be an abusive owner, abusive pet owner, or abusive individual and do something that's going to harm my cat. Then I have to take it to the vet, and then be like, what's wrong with your cat? Why your cat limping? Because I kicked their ass across the room, broke her ribs. That's terrible. I just saw in the news this morning, they were talking about a little kitten found somewhere on the street. I think it was Livingston or something like that. And these little kids was messing with the cat, like beating up the kitten. Like, really? Are you fucking serious? These kids are going to grow up to be serial killers or murderers. That's the sign of a psychopath. When you're torturing an animal or doing things like that, that means you're going to be a very ill person, or you're going to be a person that does things to people. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't do a kitten. They broke the kitten's ribs and did some other stuff. They really beat up this cat. And I'm like, that's just ridiculous. To me, it's like, it's really a sad story. So when I see stuff like that, and when I hear stuff like that, it makes me mad. Yeah, I am a healer. I am, anointed by God, and know that I'm gonna be all right. My cat scratches me, she bites me. I may be immune to it by now, but I mean, there was a time when my cat used to bite me, and I was going through a series of edema, but I don't think that it's from I don't think it's from being bit by the cat anymore. I think it's a hereditary thing, or something else going on, because at any given moment, like, my joint could swell up. I mean, different parts of my body for no reason. So that's a stressful thing, when you know that at any given moment you might wake up, or you might be sitting down, and then you start swelling up and don't know why. And I've seen it. It's really, really uncomfortable and really bad. That's why I'll never wear rings on these fingers on this right hand. I'm right-handed. I just wear them on my pinky and it's big, because I woke up one day, my hand was swelled so bad, my ring was on me so tight, it was just stuck on my hand. And that not only was painful, it was dangerous, you know. So I'm just like, I don't want to be going through stuff like that, because I couldn't get my ring off my finger, and my finger kept getting bigger and bigger. So that could have been a real situation. But thank God, you know, I just muscled through it. I slathered some Vaseline and stuff on it, and I ripped that joint off, and it hurt. But I was like, it had to come off, because if not, I would have had to go get it cut off. And a lot of other stuff, or it could have really stopped my blood flow. So, you know, that's another thing. So, stressed about that. I think about stuff like that. But then there's people with much worse issues, you know, much more things going on. So then when I think about that, it's less stressful. So you gotta be grateful for the things that God has given you, thankful for the people that you have in your life that add value, thankful for the things that you don't have wrong with you and that you don't have going on in your life, because there are people out here with high stress levels, having heart attacks, going through all kinds of crises, whether they're financial, mental, spiritual, or physical. I remember there was a time I was under spiritual warfare, and I had to fight demons in my house and pray, because my house was haunted, and I was living upstairs from a church, and I truly believe this, and I'll tell you, when preachers preach and there's an anointing going on in a church and people ain't right, or they are vexed with spirits, certain things are cast out, certain things are released. And if you are a person susceptible to having something attached to you, then, you know, that could be a problem. So that's why I walk with the full body armor of God. But there was all kinds of stuff happening in my place, and I knew it was from living upstairs, and I knew it was from living with the person I was with, because they were living in the world and they was really out there doing all kinds of dumb shit. And I had to deal with that and fight that, you know what I'm saying? And some people believe and some people don't, but I'm going to tell you, it's real. And when they talked about a guy in the Bible who was vexed with spirits, and he was insane, and Jesus ran the demons out of the guy, and they fled into the sea. Or he went into the swine, and then the swine ran into the sea. But that same guy got vexed, and the demons came back 7 times stronger and made the guy, you know, really crazy. I'm telling you, there is stuff out here that people are stressed with. And I'm saying that because I never will forget it. I'll never forget it. But if I had succumbed to that stress, my whole life would be different. Things would have been totally different. So when you see people in life going through certain things, don't think that you're the only one. Don't think that they're the only one. And know, and let me pause this, and know that, you know, if you talk about it to somebody, you may find help. You may find solace. But when all else fails, you can talk to God. You know, Keep that in mind and stay encouraged when you're down. Don't let other people determine your successes, and don't let other people determine your failures. Stay focused and stay grateful. And don't forget, when all else fails and you feel that you need to release yourself or relieve stress, talk to somebody. Reach out, because again, you never know when somebody else is going through the same thing you're going through. Alleviate stress, because stress kills. It can lead to all kinds of sicknesses, all kinds of other things in your life. So with that being said, I'm going to get off now because I've been talking for like 25 minutes. And this is just, a lot of topic, a lot of stuff. But hey, that's me. And I can never change. So have a great day, everybody. Bye.